being joined by one man who stepped down for Peter Obi in the Labour Party, Professor Pat Utomi. He joins us live in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us.
Great pleasure to be with you.
How do you feel? The man you stepped down for now has gotten a lot of steam behind him. Chiva Yadebanjo has thrown the weight of Afenifere behind him. You're thinking that you made the right choice, isn't it?
I expected this to happen. It was not a wild choice. It was a deliberate thing. Just think of my politics. Look at Nigerian history and look at how I've played. First, ethnicity has mattered very little in my politics. I mean, yes, I came into public view in a broad sense during the Shagari administration. But one of the things that threw me into public consciousness was the June 12 crisis. I'm not a Yoruba man, but I led the charge in many ways during that great struggle in Nigeria with the concerned professionals and all of that. It's because there's a practical sense in my politics for what's right, what's fair, and what advances the common good of all. In looking at the way political parties are structured, again, I'm a social scientist by education and by passion. Understanding in a systematic way man in society is my calling. I have been close to the founding of political parties. I was around since I was very close to Dr. Alex Ekweme. Even as concerned professionals, we had decided not to go into politics in 1998. But I was around with Dr. Ekweme at meetings, so I was there at the founding of the PDP. I was there at the founding when I saw that the PDP was not going to take Nigeria where it should go. I was there at the founding of the APC. And then I saw that that was disaster in the making. And I began to ask myself, why? What's going on? And my social scientist brain, in examining things, came to a simple conclusion. You know, in structural economics, there is a paradigm called the structure, conduct, performance paradigm. Structure, whether it's an industry or whatever, usually affects conduct, the behavior of the players within that space, their values, everything. Depending on how strong or weak the institutions are, they result in outcomes. It became clear to me that the nature of the structure of the APC and the PDP was such that it was about transactions. You give, I take, and it was all really about self. No ability to throw up leadership that sees Nigeria where it's going and works to deliver Nigeria in that direction. It's about who gets what, who shares what. That's why production fell off the shelf and got substituted with sharing. So sharing became so obsessive that many who were sharing did not realize that they were reducing their own possibilities in the sharing, because no country has grown rich from sharing, it's grown rich from production. And I can go back through history and look at the experience of Spain when the conquistadores were shipping back gold from Latin America and all of that, and people of Spain were sharing. Their neighbors who were much poorer, Netherlands, Switzerland of this world, invested in their young people to produce. In the end, Spain became a much poorer country than the Netherlands.
Similarly, so Nigeria has been sharing, Ghana has been producing, Cote d'Ivoire has been producing, Rwanda has been producing.
That the nature of the PDP and the APC is about sharing, and that guarantees that Nigeria will fail as a country. So
some people will say that that foundation was laid. I mean, when we entered into this,
it came out of military rule. It came out of military rule, but we then hardened it. Nigeria was a producing country in the 50s and 60s. What defined it? We talk about structure and conduct. The structure of Nigeria's federal arrangement in the 50s and early 60s led to conduct, which the American political scientists Robert Melton and Howard Wolpe essentially referred to as a state of national ethnic communities struggling for who will most bring progress to their people. This kind of competitive communalism, as they called it, led to growth spots. So Chobafemi Olo starts an industrial estate in Ikeja. Boom, Okpara follows with Aba and Port Harcourt and Transamadi. The Sardauna follows with Kakuri in Kaduna. That kind of competitive spirit drove the ascendancy of production. When military rule came, soldiers, oil came together, it led to a new culture of transactions of my share, which Richard Joseph calls bureaucratic prebendalism. Constitution became just the way, production fell off this thing. So by the time we got to the new civilian regime of 99, it was a strong part of culture. I was clear in my head that the only way we could make progress is to break this, to disrupt. That's why I began to work on this idea of a third force.
All right. Now, the third force, the big tent, and the idea of shadow cabinet, these are some of the things that you and your friends have been working on. But it looks like it's culminating in the Peter Obi and the obedient
revolution.
Now, is it a revolution?
It's a revolution.
Okay. I mean, if you call it that, I mean, I see it as a rave right now. Whether or not how much of a revolution it is, will be tested at the poll. The question people will ask is, we see this more on the lips of, or hear more on the lips of the elites and the middle class and the upper class on social media. How much of the structure on the ground, because that is what matters. The question is that, Professor Utomi, how much of the structure does the Labour Party has? Or your friends?
Super structure. Much better than the structures, quote unquote, that the APC and PDP have. You see, the media creates these stereotypes. What is structure? Here is structure for you. The Labour Party, as it currently is built around the labor movement and a college of civil society organizations. What is the labor movement? The Nigeria Labour Congress and TUC have in every state of the federation political commissions. I had the privilege of speaking about 3 months ago in Abuja here to the 36 political commissions of the NLC. If there is structure in Nigeria, that is structure. It has going for it several organizations that have been built essentially all the way to the grassroots. Why people say structure matters is because Nigerian elections are usually based on rigging, and if you don't have a lot of money, which is usually taken from the treasury, and these are people who are committing serious crimes, and Nigeria is allowed to get away with it, take public money to run political parties. But anyway, let's leave that aside for now. The people who then come from being funded from the treasury are present. The small parties don't have anybody, but that has changed. With the structure that we have, I am guaranteeing that on election day, in every polling station in this country, there will be at least 15 people who are standing up for the third force, who are going to be supporting the Labour candidate.
Let me ask now, is Labour Party still planning on merging or working with other political parties?
It's working. It's working with other political parties.
Like what party?
Because of several political parties, you know.
Because I see that other political parties have their own presidential candidates.
They're expected to have.
So, I mean, what form and what shape are you working together?
I mean, people know that their candidates will not make much of an impact. They are part of a collective. We are talking about a college of leaders led by the Labour candidate. And this college of leaders will come from parties, whether they be PRP, APC, so many of them, SDP, all of those are going to work together. I can assure you. I mean,
in what manner? Because I mean, I'm trying to ask practical questions now. So you are trying to convince me that there is a structure of, I mean, using the labor union and the members of the labor across the country, giving
using faith organizations, Christian and Muslim, all these are structured.
Those will be tested because in major political parties over the years have built practical political presence.
No, they've built
polling units
they've built rent networks of people who are bribed from government treasury.
They win elections.
Those people don't live in Nigeria, and they know that the parties have made a mess of Nigeria.
I'm asking this question on behalf of some of your supporters, and those who are not supporting you, who are wondering how you want to play that game or how you want to win election in the first place. What gives you the confidence that the Labour Party or Peter Obi can win election?
Let me tell you what gives me confidence.
Election.
First of all, APC and PDP have brought Nigeria down to base. Nigeria technically is bankrupt. Next year, all the borrowings will not help it. It won't be able to pay due amortization on the debts it's gotten into. Secondly, and by the way, the only thing that will get this out is a new confidence in Nigeria that will lead to new investments and the kind of resources that will lead to our beginning to grow again. And the world out there is not ready to give Nigeria a line on the kinds of leadership that we have currently. They'll be looking for something new. So the only hope we have of turning this around is a new kind of leadership that's focused on production, that's focused on the people, because the current transaction arrangements that we have of trading off, you get this ministry, you get that ministry. Totally incompetent people go into ministries because they've traded off positions.
So you are. I mean, what are you saying to Nigerians?
What I'm saying to Nigerians,
the Labour Party would defeat APC, PDP?
Absolutely, because Nigerians are not stupid. They realize that Nigeria is at a dead end, that they need new thinking to be able to get out of where Nigeria is.
Let me ask you this question, Prof. And I know that you're a very good friend with...
Nigeria is a scam. Hey, nobody believe God, though. Everybody not the same.